Teachers, what's the most absurd reason a student has given for not doing homework? I had this kid in my class called Marcus, who was famous for creative excuses, but this time he outdid himself. He walked into class empty-handed and I asked where his homework was. He looked me dead in the eyes and said, "My calculator is allergic to odd numbers." I blinked twice because surely I misheard him. "Excuse me, what?" He nodded seriously. "My calculator only works on even number problems. It breaks out in digital hives when I try odd numbers." The entire class was staring at him like he'd announced he was from Mars. I said, "Marcus, that's not how calculators work." He shook his head. "No, miss, you don't understand. It's a real medical condition. My calculator gets physically sick from odd number exposure." So I decided to test this theory. I pulled out my phone and said, "Calculate 7 plus 3. He hesitated for 5 seconds, then slowly typed it in. The answer appeared 10. Marcus stared in complete shock and said, "Wow, your calculator must have really advanced allergy medication." The class was trying so hard not to laugh that 2 kids were shaking, but Marcus wasn't done with his performance. He said this only works at school though. At home, my calculator breaks out in digital hives whenever I try odd numbers. That's why I could only complete the even numbered homework questions. I asked which problems those were exactly. He pulled out a crumpled paper with just problems 2, 4, 6, and 8 solved. The rest were blank with notes saying calculator too sick to compute. I told him to bring his calculator tomorrow. The next day, he showed up with a normal calculator completely covered in band-aids. I said, "Marcus, why does your calculator have band-aids on it?" He said, "Those are for the digital wounds from all the odd number exposure. It's been through a lot, Miss Peterson." I gave him the same problem 7 plus 3, and of course it worked perfectly. Marcus looked genuinely confused and said, "That's weird, it usually starts smoking by now." I kept going 9 times 5, 13 plus 7, 21 divided by 3. Every single odd number problem worked perfectly. Marcus was sweating and said, "Maybe the school has an electromagnetic field that cures calculator allergy." Finally I said, "So your calculator isn't allergic to odd numbers?" He sighed and said, "Okay, fine, maybe it's just allergic to homework specifically." That's when I decided to email his parent. His eyes went wide and he said, "Miss Peterson, that's really not necessary." Too late, I was already typed. Within an hour, I got a reply that explained everything. She said, "Marcus has been telling us for 3 weeks his calculator is broken. We've bought him 6 different calculators this month because he keeps saying they're all defective and only work on even numbers. We were planning to sue Texas Instruments for discrimination against odd numbers." The next day, I printed the email and read it to the entire class. Marcus sat there turning redder with each sentence. When I finished, the class erupted in applause. Marcus stood up and said, "Okay, fine, maybe I'm not great at math, but I'm great at creative problem solving." I handed him detention and said, "Marcus, you're also great at wasting your parents' money. 6 calculators, really?" He shrugged and said I was building a collection. Marcus never had calculator problems again, but he did try to convince me his pencil was lactose intolerant the following month.